And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in the universe. It's I, John D. and Kanika, a.k.a. In Too Much Podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well also. Thank you for asking. It was good to have you out there on the walk this morning. How did it feel?
I felt like a baby deer.
Really? You felt fragile?
Yeah, like these itty bitty steps, and almost like when you step down. You know how you step off of a stair and you think you know where the next one is gonna be, and it's not there. Yeah, some of my steps are like that.
That was dangerous. Then we can't be doing that.
Well, I was like falling back, and you were walking like you were my cousin, and you were
today.
Like, yeah.
For real? Oh man.
But it's okay. The dogs were pulling you. I understand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta be more.
Hey, I was definitely going slower though.
No doubt. So you got any plans for this weekend?
No, we have Dallas's program he's going to this week in Detroit. So just getting ready for that.
No doubt.
I'm really excited. Dallas doesn't like to deal with people. And he was really, really like trying to fight us at first. But now he's like into it.
Yeah, I'm excited for him too.
Even with the accident, he was like, does this mean I'm not going to Noma? I was like, no, you gonna go. He was like, okay. It wasn't like he was like, no, we don't need to go. He was just like, okay. I think he had it come to peace with it and was like, I'm gonna go do this. So I'm excited about that. You?
No, I don't. I just, oh yeah, I'm gonna do some landscaping. Try to finish what I started last week by pulling the rest of the weeds and planting some more seeds and watching this masterpiece come together. Thankful to your beautiful vision of what beautiful looks like for our front yard.
Hey, it's some landscaping stuff, 50% off.
Oh, you so silly.
We need to go. I'm happy to hear that, though. Yeah, the yard is about to be banging. Y'all, the before and after. Just wait.
Yeah, the before was, it's so crazy. I didn't even think anything was wrong with the before. But what we're doing, it just looks like something was wrong with the before. But,
yeah.
You only know what you know.
Yeah.
So you definitely helped me grow in having a better set of eyes with, I can appreciate people who put effort in the yard now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like there's definitely a look. You can tell when there's a little more love in the household.
Yeah. We probably look like there was none over the
But it wasn't
year.
our fault. This is just the people that before they weren't landscaping people.
No, nor we, but yeah. I think when we first got here, I was really annoyed at all of the mulch. Look, God bless John, because I said, I don't want these rocks. I don't want this mulch. And we threw all the mulch away. So all you saw were like mounds of dirt instead. That didn't look pretty. And then I said, I don't want these rocks. We can get rid of them. He put them in the backyard. And this year I was like, those rocks could look really nice.
I do want y'all to know these rocks, you need two hands to carry that. Yeah, they're that big. And it was like, I don't know, like 100 and something rocks maybe.
Might have been.
Yeah. But I didn't have a problem with it. I was just happy because she wanted to get people to come get them. And I was like, these rocks could be used in their hours. I'm not doing it. So she didn't even like them in the back.
I was like, what is that supposed to be? But that kickstart, that wasn't the kickstart. The bricks in front of the house was like, we'll reuse them. And then it was like, oh, we'll reuse those rocks. And then it was like, we'll reuse this flagstone. So we don't know. But before and after, we'll at least show y'all a picture one day.
For sure.
But I wanted to ask you something from your perspective. So I watched something where there was a father that before handing his daughter over to the groom, you know how they said, who gives this? He took the time and he said, if you ever stop loving her, please don't hurt her. Just return her to me. And I'm wondering, as a man and a husband and a father? Is that even possible?
I wouldn't say that to a man. Like, yeah, like no. See, that's one of those things when I was telling you about, sometimes we give these resources to our kids when they have to learn certain experiences. Sometimes we don't give them enough struggle. To me, if our daughter is getting married,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'll be able to determine what type of life we're going to have if she stays with them.
Mm.
And if she does, I feel like it's only my duty to guide this guy as much as I can to ensure that, unless, he has a father that thinks like I do, but I don't think most fathers think like they would like to think in a specific way, but I want to think that way because I feel like it'll be another man that I can help, and he's going to be a part of our family. So I feel like it's my responsibility to like really like how people got the shotgun and all, like that's crazy to me. Like I don't want him to be scared of me. I want him, like, if this is something, if you're going to entertain my daughter, I need you to know that this family supports our daughter to the fullest, and I want us to be safe. Like, okay, I don't want your brothers to ever worry about your safety. If you go somewhere, like, I know her husband, I want to know that if Day decides to get married to whoever, that I can feel that way. Like, hey, Day, I don't really feel safe because of this. And I want her to understand what I'm looking at so that when she does make a decision, that I can support her, because I felt like I gave her as much information as possible. But if the dude hurts her out of our control, or, just something we miss, that's life.
So
like,
it's going to be a goal for you to create a relationship with this.
If it's somebody that she's serious, yeah, like if she introduces us, like I feel like that's my duty. Like, because if I don't, I'm assuming that you're capable of taking care of my daughter better than me.
How would you feel about advising if you were watching your son-in-law? Like, we have family, and one of our family members, she was talking to me and she said she feels like it's supposed to be over, but she always says he won't leave. But she's not really asking him to leave. She was like, he won't leave. And in my head, I'm like, for some reason, we get in relationships where we don't even feel fulfilled anymore, but we just never let it go. We be like, well, I
don't think it's that. I think that, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I think that it's not about letting it go. It's about, what does it look like after this? Like, can I even support anything? Like, if I'm going to be sad, am I going to be in my own stuff? Is it like, I don't know what it looks like. So
if you are seeing this taking place with either one of them,
I don't think it's possible.
Would you feel, if it were?
I know, I'm trying.
Would you feel comfortable advising him to terminate the marriage with your daughter?
Absolutely. Like if I feel like there's nothing left, like I don't like.
Who do you talk to first, though? Do you you talk to her first?
Yeah, I want her to know what we're thinking, because it's not. I'm not just gonna like. I want, because if I'm talking to her, that means you and I have already spoken. So we're going with on the same. We're the same force, like the same team. Like, hey, this is what we're thinking. What do you think? And like, we only want to protect you, but that's the reason why I feel like communication is so important, because if she can receive it, she can be like, look, I already know my parents can see things that I can't see. They're happy still. They talk about this if they can see something, but our job is to make sure that we're not trying to say, we don't want you to not have fun or enjoy this relationship, but it doesn't look healthy. And the things that we see doesn't look like it's going to turn around for the later. It's just going to get worse. And then you're going to be trapped because you're so involved. Like, mentally, you're going to be like, he could turn around. Like, I don't want you to be invested in a bad investment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I remember my mom, I know that it was from her experience, but when we got married, she said, you can always come home. And I think that that's like you said, what does it look like if this happens? That's the big question when people are considering parting ways. We always tell the kids that they're welcome to come home. They don't even have to leave. Like, you're welcome to come home whenever. But I just wonder about the appropriateness. If you're watching and you've talked today, we've told her that the door is open, and you're still conversing with this young man, and you're just like, I know that it's not going to make it. Do you feel like it's your place to say, have you considered ending the marriage? Or do you wait for him to talk to you about it?
No, I would talk like I would definitely talk to both of them. Like, I wouldn't, like, in my mind, I don't want anybody to think that I know more than anybody else.
Right.
But there are certain practices that you just know can't be successful if they continue. Mm-hmm. And if certain practices can't stop, I don't want them to think that tomorrow is just going to be over. It takes a lot of work. Are you willing? Are you committed? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're not, why even go down that road? I don't want you to waste your time when maybe your person is somewhere else.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I feel like I'd be able to convince the guy. Like, I don't know a guy that wants to fail. And like, in my mind, if I was his age, I would want somebody to pull me to the side. Look, dude.
Well, you've said that a lot over the years. Like, you know, you didn't have proper guidance, or you didn't have someone who had had the experience to be able to guide you. So I understand wanting to be the guide that you never had, but in that position as the father speaking to the son-in-law, I'm just wondering how well, I'm hoping we have a relationship with them where we can speak to them like that and not feel out of place.
I feel like we have to develop the relationship so that we can do that. But it still has to be respectful, where they're not thinking like we're coming for them.
Yeah.
Like, if you can talk to, and you can tell anybody anything, is if it's the truth and they are not defensive because the way you said it, mm-hmm. they won't. They don't have a reason to get upset, because the truth does hurt. But if you say it in a way where it's received, no, I'm like, man, you're right.
So that's you as a father. If my father had said the same to you, do you think you would have been capable of saying, this is going in the wrong place, before I really heard her?
Not your father. When I say your father, I mean at that point in time, I don't think he would have been able to speak to where I am, because to me, I feel like I would have been able to speak to where he was, because that's where I was.
Well, I'm saying we're about to get married, and he says,
if he says this to me, okay, so how do you feel about him? Do you like, because to me, if you don't have that relationship with him, there's so many things that's going to play. Like, I know our kids love us. Mm-hmm. They're going to talk highly of us. They're not going to say F us behind our back and all of this. So when you do that, you kind of let the other person know there's a rift somewhere. Mm-hmm. So you gave me enough information to feel like it was a rift between your relationship. So to me, I feel like
he can't talk to you.
He can't talk to me the way that I'm, because like the person has to feel like you would have to support him. Mm. You're like, look, this is my heart. And then I would take his word a little more. And then he's divorced. So if he's divorced, like, it's very difficult to know what messages he's giving me that I'm supposed. He's like, man, you got to protect my daughter. Like, you know, like, I don't know.
What I'm saying is, okay, so if he said, you know, before you hurt her, just don't hurt her. Just return her to me if you see it's going bad.
Yeah, I don't think I was mature enough to be able to do that. I mean, I don't know what looking bad was, because I never thought it was going bad.
Right.
So all this time, I never thought it was going bad.
Right. Right.
So, but your view was totally different from me, because your mother said you could always come home. So just imagine we're not even on the same page, because I didn't ever think.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, that was from the beginning. My mom, even before we got married, she always made sure that I never felt like I had to stay anywhere.
But that's what I'm saying. If I had given the person that I am now, your mother wouldn't have mentioned that. Mm. It wouldn't have crossed her mind, because she already knows the person that you like. Like, I was still like wet behind the ears, a wild card, didn't know enough. But now I don't think your mother was like, like, not saying that she wouldn't offer that, but I don't think it would ever, like, she would have to use it. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, Nika, you can still come home. Yeah. Like, why would she say that to you unless you gave her some kind of idea, like, you know, I don't, you know.
Well, I felt like it was more of, was there a time where she felt that way? And
Your mother?
so, yeah, about her own life. And so she's trying to make sure that she keeps that door. Like, there are a lot of
for
things
sure.
we've experienced that the kids haven't. And we're like trying to come in early on and say, before any of this gets anywhere, this is what I need you to know. And so I'm wondering, not so much as her not being confident in us, but her saying, this was something that kept me here, and I don't want her there.
Yeah.
If it ever got like that, I want her to know she can come home. I thought it was more of her experience and understanding that, just like you said, people wonder, what does it even look like if we walk away?
Well, I think it's a combination of all of that.
So as a father and as a husband and as a man, I guess you answered it as a husband. You had no idea that someone was hurt, so you can't return her before it gets bad because you may not even be aware.
Correct. Unless you're an effective communicator. And so if you're an effective communicator and you say, hey, this hurts me, and I keep doing it, like, then you already know, like, something's wrong. Like, this dude's not gonna stop. Like, you know this earlier before it even gets marriage. You, like, if you can say, hey, when you did this made me feel this way. I need you to stop, or we can't continue. If they agree, they've accepted this responsibility. Mm-hmm. If they can't do it, you have to determine, are they absent-minded? Are they trying to do it? Like, you're going to determine, like, okay, he's doing better to keep going, or like, okay, he just said F it. Because to me, I feel like he doesn't understand what you mean if he wants to remain in a relationship.
Right. So you made it sound really great as a father-in-law of wanting to guide your son-in-law. Mm-hmm. But if I were to do that for Dallas's soon-to-be wife or wife, would that seem more of an overbearing mother-in-law rather than the guiding father-in-law?
Well, I think that we approach people differently. So depending on how you sound, you could sound overbearing, but I feel like if you looked at it like you don't have all the right answers, mm-hmm. and you're just guiding, you can't be protecting your son. You got to protect her, because you're always going to protect him, but he doesn't know how to protect her still. Like, and she don't even know how to be protected probably.
That's true.
So you have to still let her know, like, no, he can't do that. Like that, like his father doesn't even do that. And that no, you don't. So to me, I feel like if you can protect her and she's like, look, that's her son and that's her heart, and she puts him in check, she's going to like, no, like, okay, mm-hmm. she's going to give me honest feedback of whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely say that about your mom. Like, there have been plenty of people that talk about the bad experiences they have with their in-laws. My in-laws are not like that. I remember 2 instances, once with your sister and once with your mom, where I was really upset, and they was like, where's John at? Yeah. So they could tell you off. And that, you're right. The idea of it's the idea of, are you trying to protect both of us or just that child, your child? And I think that I was feeling that from your statements about how you wanted to approach the son-in-law, that it was like you're trying to guide both. It's not like I'm just trying to protect her and
not at all.
Yeah. That's a really interesting like I hadn't thought about that, but it makes a very big difference, because those who complain about their mother-in-laws that I know, the mother-in-laws is like their son or die. Like, it has nothing to do with them, and they really could do without the daughter-in-law, period.
Yeah, and that's a selfish way of looking at it too, because you're gonna die before, and like, he's supposed to have something to continue something.
Yeah.
And I feel like just listening to it, you're allowing somebody to enter your family. Like, you should feel like this is a great investment, because you know what, if we pass, we know that Dallas has great support, or Day is going to be able to support this person because he's going to be able to reciprocate it. Like we can feel safe, like, oh, they got it. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're going to run through their problems. But as far as a relationship, they understand the process of trying to become a better relationship. So, yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, I think they got it. Dallas and I, we were out watching, and we happened to see this family interacting. And the son and his girlfriend, the son was arguing with his mom, and when he stormed out of the house, the girlfriend stormed out with him, and then she went back in the door and started cussing at the mom, and then slammed the door and left. And so Dallas was like, that ain't like, he was like, that wasn't good. He was like, I can't believe she said that. And I was like, for real. And when we saw the mother, she was like, talking to Dallas, she said, always make sure that your girlfriend can get along with your mother. And even her younger son was like, yeah, if they ain't gonna be able, don't even bring her around if you don't think that they can get along. And I would hope that Dallas would choose a woman that would not address me like that. I don't think he would even allow that type of back and forth.
He's not attracted to women like that.
Yeah. But I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what if the mother is toxic and the girlfriend, that's her reacting as a protective factor? It's still not okay
to
address. But
you don't expect a child to be more mature than an adult.
Yeah.
And if you do, then that child is probably not interested in your son.
Yeah. I was just watching, and I'm like, wow, I hope I never have to have a moment where our kids will ever have to make a decision between us or who they want to be around, or choose somebody who's as who lacks the idea of just respect and decorum.
I think that they would only deal with people who have some form of emotional intelligence. And when I say that, I mean, I just don't see them being attracted to anybody that's loud and obnoxious, or is a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like they don't. And when I say rough around the edges, I mean like the way that they talk. Nobody's going to talk to them crazy where they're going to stay in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I say that, I mean like you're going to have to learn how to talk when you're talking. If you want a relationship with them, they're not going to teach you, I don't believe. Like, who wants to get beat up? But as a kid, you don't know. But I feel like they're aware enough to like, yeah, we can't talk regularly.
Yeah, so we gotta get done with this.
Yeah, they're not gonna say, "Oh, that's just how he talk." Well, he can't talk to me that way. Like, I don't like the way I feel when he talks that way.
Yeah,
and that could be that they're that's how they talk, and they don't mean anything by it. But I just like energy attracts energy. They just wouldn't interact that often.
That's true. I saw somebody who was interacting with someone, and the guy had told her to do something. And she was like, but why would I have to do that? And they're like, well, it's the rules, so I need you to do da 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 da. And she said, but I don't see that posted anywhere, so I don't get it. And they said, you are so disrespectful. And so she was like, can you define disrespectful? And then he was like, well, I'm telling you what needs to be done and you're not listening to me. And she said, I'm wondering if you're saying I'm not obedient. And it made me think about relationships where, you hear people, men, we always talk, submission and stuff like that comes out. And the idea of respect versus obedience. And it was so interesting to hear her make the distinction. And I was just wondering, like, as an example, say you're in the house and you're wearing a hat, and somebody says, take your hat off. It's disrespectful. I'm like, well, in our house, it may not be, you know what I'm saying? But it'll be like, well, why is it disrespectful? Like, that's not a common practice in our house. So why is it? Because you're not supposed to wear a hat in the house. And so I remember growing up where if the adult told you to do something, you just do it, or else you're being disrespectful. And now to hear someone separating and say respect, how would you define respect first? Let me ask you.
So I love listening to this, because that's why I say people disrespectful is only people. It depends on where you grew up. Like, I could say something to you and you're like, that was disrespectful, and I was like, no, this is what we use. This is common terminology. I didn't do this to make you mad. So it's almost like the lie and the untruth. Like, I'm not saying this to disrespect you. You took it to be disrespectful, but if I knew that this was going to disrespect you, do you think I would have done it?
Right.
So you can't use that word.
Well,
so to me, what disrespectful is, if you know that it can offend me and you do it anyway.
They defined it as kindness and understanding where people are coming from and operating from there. And I think that goes along with what you're saying. It's like, I don't want to offend you. I'm going to give you the respect of speaking to you in a kind manner. I'm going to be very clear, and I'm going to respect where you're, like, I'm going to understand where you're coming from and not overtly try to offend.
Yeah.
You know, just so when they were talking about respect versus obedience, I was like, that was something that we didn't struggle with. We just accepted growing up a lot. And I realize now, I mean, I was a respectful child, but I was definitely,
obedience can turn into disrespect.
Yeah.
Obedience can turn into disrespect. Like,
Tell me how.
if I say, Dallas, go wash those dishes, and he's not obedient, he's being disrespectful now, because I expect him to go wash these dishes. So he's decided to disrespect me because he knows this is out of respect. If I tell him to do something, he's supposed to follow.
Well, that's obedience, though.
Without a doubt. But if he knows it's going to make me mad, he's now disrespecting me.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like you're right. He's being disobedient. But if he knows it's going to make me mad and I'm his father, he's being disrespectful. Like, if somebody else tells him, hey, I'm an adult, you need to go do this, he's disrespecting an adult. So, like, it comes into that. Like, okay, so let's say, Dallas, go wash the dishes. And he says, no, I don't want to wash the dishes. You're being disobedient. Are you trying to disrespect me? Oh, no. So are you telling me that if I don't wash the dishes, I'm disrespecting you? Yes. Okay, I'm going to go wash the dishes because I don't want to disrespect you.
But doesn't it feel like you're making obedience and disrespect synonymous again?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying disrespect is intentionally trying to tell somebody that I am trying to, like, I'm disrespecting somebody means, like you said, I know where you're coming from and I'm still not doing it. Like, are you trying? You're not trying to do that. So I guess I'm trying to show you that by being obedient is just doing what somebody tells you to do. But if I don't do that, I don't know that it's disrespecting you.
Okay.
If I tell you it's disrespecting me if you don't do it because I'm your father, I'm telling you to do something. You're not being obedient. But now if I tell you to do it and you go do it, you're not going to disrespect me. It's not like that he's being obedient. He doesn't want to disrespect me. He doesn't know that this too leads to the disrespect. Because if he knew that it would disrespect me, do you think he would, like, question?
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't want
to disrespect me.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. If you know the information before, it's only disrespect if you do it on purpose. If you already know.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Or is it still sounding synonymous?
Partially. Yeah, it's still because
I wish I could give you another example where what I'm trying to say.
It's like it starts with disobedience and then it becomes disrespect. I don't know. I wonder, but somebody can disobey you and still be respectful.
Correct. Like, I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to like, you got to acknowledge this. Look, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but I don't want to do that because you got to give me a reason why you're not going to do it so that you're no longer disrespecting me. To me, I feel like Dallas says, I don't want to wash dishes because they has not washed dishes in a week and y'all haven't said anything. You know, then if I have the empathy of where he's coming from, now he's like, he's not being disobedient now. Well, he's still being disobedient because he didn't do what I said, but now he's not disrespecting me because he has reason to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I have to, as the adult, I have to put that in consideration. Is this enough for me to accept that he's being disobedient?
So you tie obedience to respect. And it can only be separated.
I don't want to say only on anything.
Okay.
I'm just saying that I don't think anybody because you were talking about the disrespect aspect. So if you know that it could disrespect, if I can say, hey, this will disrespect me if you don't follow these directions. Like, do you want, disrespect is like the level above.
This will disrespect me if you're not obedient. I guess I'm thinking what if he says, I don't, right now I'm not feeling well, so I don't want to wash the dishes.
Then that's not disrespecting me. He doesn't have the energy to do it. I have to be in a mature enough to say that's a good reason. Okay.
I feel like if he said, I ain't washing no dishes, now that's disrespectful and disobedient. Cause it's like, you're not speaking to me kindly. And you don't acknowledge that that's something that's an expectation of you because this month is your month to do the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? I get that part. But just in anything, I feel like if I just attach disobedience and disrespect like that, it makes me think of like when women have men and the men are like, this is what I need you to do. And she doesn't do it. And I see you don't respect me because you don't do da-da-da-da-da. No, I respect you. Like, I won't let nobody talk nothing about you. I make sure that when you leave the house, you got something to eat, blah, blah, blah. Like, I take care of you and I understand where you're coming from. But just because I didn't do this doesn't mean I don't respect you. But a lot of times, disobedience and respect or obedience and respect are tied so closely together, people can't see the difference. So when you're saying disobedience leads to disrespect, it feels like it ties it back together rather than making them two separate concepts.
Well, I think that if I tell you, hey, I don't like you calling me the B word.
Right.
And you call me that anyway, that's now you've disrespected me. But I gave you the warning.
Yeah.
But he's like, this is just my language. This is how I talk.
Okay.
You know, so to me, I feel like, are you going to keep using it? Like, as far as like, what is your reason? Is your reason good enough for you to keep using it for me? If I agree, it's no longer disrespectful.
Yeah. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if I agree with your rationale, it's no longer disrespectful to me. Okay, you're gonna do it because I understand it's okay. But if I tell you to wash these dishes and you give me a reason, or depending, like he's like, I just don't want to do it, that's disrespectful because that's not a good enough reason to not be doing the dishes.
I got you.
Yeah. So like, the reason why I realized the language aspect, because depending on where you live in the country, people use language, depending on what group of people you hang around, they use language that could be completely offensive to people because they don't hear curse words on a regular basis. And then you say this and like, oh, and it was like, hold up, excuse me?
Well, I think I agree with you. But I think that sometimes obedience is not tied to respect.
Okay, I agree.
I think that when I'm thinking about pronouns, that's a big thing now. How you want someone to address you. Are you a she, a he, a they, or whatever? And so if someone misgenders someone and say I say Miss John to you and you're clearly Mr. John, and you say my pronoun is he, so it's Mr. John. And then I come back around and I'll be like, Miss John, knowing good and well that at this point you've said, look, this is my pronoun, this is how I expect to be addressed. You not following that understanding that it has a tie to respect. I can understand that. I can understand that a bit better. But yeah, like, I guess I was thinking to myself, when I tell the kids, do something and they don't do it, I don't necessarily think they're disrespecting me. Sometimes they're just absent-minded. Mm-hmm. And so it's not an immediate connection, but it's whether or not you care enough to meet me where I am. Like I said, being understanding of others and being kind. So
Yes.
that's what I was trying to figure out. And I just wonder, I don't know, no one ever, I guess they always made it synonymous when we were kids. So
just like lie and untruth.
Yeah, or it's inaccurate. That's, it makes it very different. And it's funny because who was I talking to? A friend, she's our age, and she was like, all this stuff, and people coming up with this and that and this and that, and it's really not that complicated. It's simple. And it reminds me of older people. I think about making sure my mind stays adaptable and flexible and, moving with the times to understand what's going on. And it's like when you get to the point where it's always better to be more specific, be able to define more and break things down more, because it fits so much better. Like respect and obedience were one thing when I was growing up, but to understand the differences allows Day and Dallas to feel comfortable standing in their truth of what they, like, no, I'm not going to do that. And you can even say it's no disrespect to you, but my beliefs say that this is how I'm supposed to do it. And so
that's why I say, like, things is just miscommunication.
Yeah, but when we were younger, you just had to do it.
Oh,
it
yeah.
didn't matter how you felt. You know what I'm saying? And now my mom was talking to me about that too. And I'm just like, it's not bad. The direction we're going in isn't bad, because I feel like it allows people more of a way of identifying or distinguishing themselves from other people. This is what I believe. This is what I understand, and I need you to respect it. Being able to speak up for yourself. I don't want Day and Dallas to be kids that just do stuff because an adult told them to, because we know that some adults are not safe adults anyway.
For sure.
And it can get them in trouble. So being able to define these things and get them to the point where they can what is the word? They can advocate for themselves more effectively and feel safe and feel heard. I'm all for whatever that direction is.
Definitely. It's like I said, like what we always talk about, we stress on communication so you can set boundaries. Because if you don't set the boundaries, that's what it was. If you don't set a boundary and it's never come up, you can't say somebody disrespected you. Like, that person had no idea that was going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, they got to have some type of information to know this is going to make you mad. And you got to know that they did it on purpose. But that's why I said emotional intelligence is so key, because we automatically think that everybody has the same set of rules.
Yeah, I think one of the difficult things now is us being where we are and trying to, I always say our generation is a bridge of a lot of things. We bridge through, records to cassettes to CDs to whatever, technology, no technology, analog, whatever. And I feel like we are a bridge between what's going on now and what we grew up with, kind of like to help our parents understand our children. And Dallas understands there are certain things he says or he doesn't say around his grandparents that he could say in front of us, and it's not a problem. And so I think it's, to be able, I don't know, is it wrong to ask a child to play the game of the grandparent when the grandparent is around?
think that's being respectful, because that means I know their rules.
Yeah. And I'm being kind and operating on it as long as it doesn't compromise.
Correct. Yeah. Like we want you to believe in what you believe in, but they're old, respecting your elders. Like, you don't have to believe in what they do, but you don't have to disrespect how they believe in what they believe in.
Agreed. Okay. I like that.
No doubt.
Okay.
That was a good talk. Anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
No.
Well, I want to give a shout out to all of the parents who are looking for ways to improve in parenting, because it's a wonderful connection you build with your family, and it helps you grow as a person because you are going to see what worked and what didn't. I know a lot of people say your kids are going to do what they're going to do, but they only do as well as the options they know they have. And if you haven't shown them how to use their options, or the options that they have are scary because you intimidate them, they won't ever use you as the option, and you're probably the best option for them. So shout out to the parents who are looking to improve or have time to improve, or things have slowed down enough for you to see, hey, you can improve so your kids can be great. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA, get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Boom.